I always thought I had a perfect life. My name is Jake, and I was married to Emily for nearly 8 years. We had a cozy little house in a suburb of San Diego, a steady income, and a dream of taking a cruise together someday. But you know what they say about dreams, they're often built on the sand. Emily was beautiful, funny, and had a way of making every day feel exciting. But as time passed, I started noticing little things that felt off. At first, it was the late nights. I brushed it off, thinking she was putting in extra hours at work. She had taken on a new project that required a lot of her time. I was supportive, telling her to focus on her career. After all, we were in this together, right? Then there were the texts. I didn't mean to snoop, but I couldn't help it when she left her phone unlocked one night. I saw her receive a message from someone named Mike that made my stomach drop. It was a simple "can't wait for the trip" with a wink emoji. I didn't know any Mike, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I asked her about it later, but she brushed it off, claiming it was a coworker she was planning a team-building event with. Still, doubts slowly crept in. I started watching her closely, noticing how she would spend hours in the bathroom getting ready, how she suddenly started buying new clothes and would rush out for errands without telling me where she was going. Every time I brought it up, she'd laugh, saying I was being paranoid. The more she laughed, the more my heart sank. What really did it, though, was the night I got home early from work. I thought I'd surprise her with dinner. As I walked through the door, I saw her sitting on the couch, face lit up by her phone. I was about to call out her name when I caught a glimpse of the screen. I saw a picture of her with some guy in a cruise ship outfit, laughing and clothes together. My heart raced, and I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I mean, I was pretty sure at that moment that he wasn't just a friend. I don't know what happened next. It's almost like I was on autopilot. I walked in and confronted her. "Who the hell is Mike?" I asked, my voice shaking. Emily shot up from the couch, her eyes wide with shock. "What are you talking about?" She stammered, but I wasn't letting her off that easy. I pulled up the picture on her phone and she went pale. "I can explain," she pleaded, her tone shifting to something defensive. Her explanations were a whirlwind of lies. She claimed it was all harmless fun, that it was just a stupid work event. I could feel the rage boiling within me, but I wanted to keep it together. This was not the Emily I knew. The one I loved wouldn't betray me like this. As I looked into her eyes, I saw something I hadn't noticed before, shame mixed with defiance, like she truly believed she hadn't done anything wrong. I felt broken, angry, and incredibly sad all at once. I had trusted her, and she had shattered that trust like glass. So, what was I supposed to do now? Part of me wanted to scream and yell, to throw her out of the house. Another part, a quieter, more rational part, wanted to understand why she did it. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. I'd always been the calm one, the one who believed in communication. But did I even want to communicate with someone who had so blatantly disrespected our marriage? That night was a turning point, a moment I would never forget. As I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, I realized something had to change. I couldn't just sit back and let this betrayal define me. I needed to find a way to reclaim my life, my dignity. End of part 1. The days following the confrontation with Emily were some of the darkest of my life. I was walking around in a daze, like a ghost who had lost its way. The house felt empty, even though she was still there, moving about as if everything was normal. Each conversation was strained, filled with awkward silences and forced smiles. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Part of me thought about packing my bags and leaving, but another part craved closure, an understanding of why she had chosen this path. It was difficult to look at her without feeling a mix of anger and sadness, which often morphed into resentment. I felt trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. One night, after a particularly tense dinner, I decided I needed to get out. I went for a long drive, trying to clear my head. I drove to the beach, where the waves crashed against the shore and the salty air filled my lungs. I had always found solace in the ocean, and tonight was no different. I sat on the sand, the moon reflecting on the water, and let the thoughts swirl in my mind. That's when I got an idea. If Emily was willing to throw away our marriage over some guy, what if I turned the tables? I was done playing the victim. It was time to take control of my life. I had always wanted to own a yacht, something I had dreamed about during our vacations together. I could buy one. a beautiful, luxurious yacht, and ensure she was never welcome aboard. It would be a symbol of my freedom, my revenge. When I got home, I started doing my research. I found a few brokers and began looking at different yachts online. There was something therapeutic about it. I wasn't just planning revenge. I was investing in my future, reclaiming my happiness. It felt empowering to know that I could have something amazing for myself, something that didn't involve her. Over the next week, I kept my plans close to my chest. I didn't want Emily to suspect anything. I started visiting marinas and looking at options, feeling the thrill of what was to come. I found a sleek 40-foot sailboat that was perfect for me. It had everything: roomy cabins, a spacious deck, and a beautiful kitchen. I could already picture myself sailing away, leaving all the betrayal behind. The day I put down the deposit was exhilarating. I felt a rush of excitement mixed with satisfaction. I was taking control of my destiny. But I didn't just want the yacht for myself. No, I intended to make a statement. I wanted Emily to understand that I wouldn't tolerate her betrayal. Once the paperwork was finalized, I started outfitting the yacht with everything I could want: luxurious furnishings, a top-notch sound system, and even a bar stocked with her favorite drinks. I didn't tell her a thing while I prepared. After all, I had to keep the element of surprise. As the days passed, I became more confident in my decision. I knew that Emily would eventually find out about the yacht, and I could only imagine her reaction. Part of me felt guilty. I had once loved her deeply, but her infidelity left a bitter taste in my mouth. It was time to teach her a lesson. When the day finally came to take possession of the yacht, I felt a rush of adrenaline. I invited a few close friends to celebrate the new venture and to help me get the yacht ready for its maiden voyage. I wanted to create an atmosphere of joy and camaraderie, and it felt good to have people around me who supported my decision. As we gathered on the deck, popping champagne and enjoying the sun, I could only imagine how Emily would react when she found out. I knew she wouldn't be able to resist wanting to join me on the yacht, to enjoy the luxury I had created. But little did she know that I had zero intentions of letting her aboard. I was ready to show her what it felt like to be left behind. This wasn't just about the yacht, it was about reclaiming my life and my happiness. I thought of the times we had planned vacations together, and it felt like a distant memory. Now I was finally living for myself. End of part 2. After that exhilarating day on the yacht, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. I had taken a huge step toward reclaiming my life, and it felt empowering. Yet a part of me still braced for the inevitable confrontation with Emily when she found out about my new venture. I decided to keep it under wraps a little longer, savoring the thrill of my secret. I spent days sailing with friends, exploring the coastline, and just enjoying the sun and the breeze. The yacht quickly became my sanctuary, a place where I could forget about the betrayal and just be me. It was a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil I had been through just weeks earlier. Then one evening, I got a call from a mutual friend, Sarah. She asked if Emily had told me about her recent behavior. I could hear the concern in her voice. "Jake, I just think you should know. Emily's been acting really strange lately. She's been talking about how she misses the old times and how she's been feeling guilty. I mean, it might be good for you to talk things out." I sighed, a mix of annoyance and intrigue bubbling inside me. Yeah, well, she hasn't really reached out to me since the big revelation. I think she knows I'm not in a forgiving mood. "Just keep an open mind, okay?" Sarah urged. After hanging up, I mulled over what she said. I didn't want to let Emily back into my heart so easily, but a part of me was curious about what she would say. Did she really feel guilty? Or was she just trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for her? I had no intention of giving her an easy ride. A couple of days later, I got my chance. I was out on the yacht, just enjoying some peace and quiet, when I saw Emily walking along the pier with a look of determination on her face. She spotted me and hesitated for a brief moment before making her way toward me. My heart raced, not from love but from the adrenaline of the confrontation I had been anticipating. "Jake," she called out, her voice a mix of eagerness and hesitation. "Can we talk? I crossed my arms, leaning against the yacht's railing. About what? Your affair. You have a lot of nerve coming here. Her eyes widened and I could see the guilt flicker across her face. I know I messed up, but I really want to explain, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I rolled my eyes, trying to mask my anger. You think I want to hear your excuses? You betrayed me, Emily. You threw everything we had away for a guy who probably doesn't mean anything. It wasn't like that, she insisted, her desperation growing. At first it was just fun, a stupid fling. I didn't think it would go anywhere, but then I started realizing how much I missed you. I made a terrible mistake. I felt the familiar sting of betrayal wash over me. Missed me. You didn't seem to miss me when you were out there having fun with Mike. Tears welled up in her eyes and she took a step closer. I know I messed up. I should have never let it get that far. I love you, Jake. I've always loved you. I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and pity. Love? You call that love? You don't throw away your marriage for a quick thrill and then expect everything to magically go back to normal. Emily took a deep breath, clearly trying to gather her thoughts. I know I hurt you and I can't take it back, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this right. I want to try again, please. It was tempting to think about the life we had together, the memories we had built. I could still remember the laughter, the late-night talks, and the adventures, but those memories were now tainted by her betrayal. I felt rage bubbling beneath my surface. You expect me to just forgive you and forget everything. You think a few tears will fix this? Her voice dropped, barely above a whisper. No, I don't expect that. I just want a chance to prove to you that I can be better. I took a step back, feeling the distance between us grow. You had your chance, Emily. You made a choice and now you'll have to live with it. I'm done. The look on her face shattered my heart, but I stood firm. I knew I had to be strong. I had spent too long feeling powerless and I wasn't about to let her back into my life so easily. As she turned to leave, I felt a deep sense of relief mixed with sorrow. I had put my foot down, but it didn't come without consequences. I was free from the weight of her betrayal, yet the reality of it lingered like a shadow. Back on the yacht, I took a moment to breathe. I was angry, but I also felt a sense of liberation. I was taking control of my life, and that was a victory in itself. End of part 3. Days turned into weeks, and the weight of my decision started to settle in. I was still riding the high of taking control, but the reality of my situation began to hit harder than I expected. I spent countless hours on the yacht, sometimes just sitting in silence, staring at the ocean waves, letting the salt air soothe my troubled mind. My friends were incredibly supportive, always checking in on me and encouraging me to focus on the positive aspects of my new life. Emily, on the other hand, seemed to spiral deeper into regret. I would occasionally see her at the local grocery store or around the neighborhood, her demeanor noticeably different. She looked tired and worn down, and her eyes had lost their sparkle. I felt a pang of guilt, but I quickly shoved it aside. She had made her choice, and now it was time for me to focus on me. I began making plans for the yacht, organizing weekend trips with friends to explore nearby coastal towns. I invested in sailing lessons, eager to learn more about navigating the open water. It felt thrilling to embrace this new chapter, especially knowing it was a chapter I was writing for myself, without the weight of a cheating spouse hanging over my head. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, I received a message that changed everything. It was from Emily. Can we talk again? I promise I'll be honest this time. I stared at the screen, contemplating whether to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore her, to continue moving forward without looking back. But another part of me felt a sense of obligation. After all, we had shared a life together, and it felt wrong not to at least hear her out. I agreed to meet her at a local cafe, curious about what she would say this time. As I arrived, I felt a whirlwind of emotions, anxiety, anger, and hopelessness all battling within me. Emily was already sitting at a table, nervously tapping her fingers against her coffee cup. When I sat down, I noticed the dark circles under her eyes and the way she fidgeted with her hair. Thank you for meeting me, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's get to it, I replied, trying to mask my irritation. What is it you want to say? She took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto mine. I've been seeing a therapist since you caught me. I've come to realize how deeply I messed up and how much I took you for granted. I've been reflecting on our relationship and the reasons behind my actions. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my arms over my chest. And what did your therapist tell you? That it's okay to cheat? No, she replied sharply, then softened her tone. They helped me understand that I was unhappy and didn't know how to communicate it to you. I thought running away with someone else would fill the void, but it only made everything worse. I'm so sorry, Jake, I really am. I felt the familiar anger bubbling up inside me. So, what do you want now? For me to just forgive you and forget about everything. You can't just erase the past with a few words. No, you're right. I know it's not that simple, but I'm asking for a chance to start over. I know I don't deserve it, but I want to prove that I can be the partner you always deserved. I've changed, and I want to make it right. Her vulnerability was palpable, but I couldn't shake the memories of betrayal and pain that clouded my decision. I had spent weeks building my confidence, crafting a new life for myself. The idea of letting her back in felt like inviting chaos into my carefully constructed world. I just don't know, Emily. It feels like you're trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for you. I need to know that this isn't just some ploy to get back into my life. Trust is gone and I don't know how to rebuild it. I understand, she said, tears brimming in her eyes. I can't blame you for feeling that way. I just wanted to come clean and let you know I'm committed to change. I miss us, Jake. I never stopped loving you. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust again. The sincerity in her voice was evident, but I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. The past few weeks had been a journey of self-discovery, and I had finally found a sense of peace. I didn't want to risk it all by opening the door to her again. I need time, Emily, I replied, trying to soften my rejection. You have to understand that trust isn't something that can be easily rebuilt. It takes time, and right now I'm not ready for that. She nodded, her expression a mix of acceptance and heartbreak. I understand. I just needed you to know I'm serious about wanting to change. I'll be here if you decide you want to talk again. As she left, I felt a storm of emotions rage within me. While I had made significant strides in reclaiming my life, the lingering feelings for her still existed. I couldn't deny our history, nor could I ignore the fact that I still cared for her. But now, I had to focus on myself. I had a yacht to enjoy, adventures to embark on, and a life to build without her. I decided to take the next few weeks to immerse myself in sailing, spend more time with friends, and genuinely rediscover who I was outside of my marriage. The yacht became my escape, a place where I could clear my mind and enjoy the freedom I had fought so hard to obtain. I realized that my journey was only just beginning, and I was determined to make the most of it, with or without Emily. End of part 4. As I dove deeper into my new life on the yacht, each day felt like a step forward, a departure from the confusion and heartbreak that had once consumed me. Sailing became my therapy. The thrill of the wind against the sails, the gentle rocking of the boat, and the endless horizon filled my heart with a renewed sense of purpose. Each time I set out on the water, it was like leaving my past behind. I started to build a community of fellow sailing enthusiasts, connecting with people who shared my passion. We'd meet up for sailing events and weekend outings, forming bonds over shared experiences. It was refreshing to be around people who were excited about life, who had their own stories of adventure and resilience. It felt good to laugh again, to feel the camaraderie of others who understood the healing power of the ocean. But Emily lingered in the back of my mind, her presence a bittersweet reminder of what had been. I wasn't naive enough to think that I could just erase her from my thoughts. I often wondered how she was coping, if she was truly changing, or if she was just playing another game. I knew I had to guard my heart, but the memories we shared still tugged at me when I least expected it. One evening, as I was preparing to head out for a sunset sail with a few friends, I received a text from her. "Jake, I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about you and just wanted to check in. Can we meet to talk about what's been going on with us?" I stared at the message, my heart racing. Part of me was tempted to ignore her, to keep sailing forward without looking back. But another part felt an undeniable pull, a curiosity about her sincerity. I decided it was time to face this once and for all. We agreed to meet at a cafe near the marina. I arrived early, my stomach a mix of excitement and anxiety. When I saw her walk in, it was like the air was sucked out of the room. She looked different, more composed, yet weary. I could see the effort she had put into her appearance, her hair styled and her makeup perfectly done. But there was still a hint of vulnerability in her eyes. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Hey," she replied, her voice soft. "Thanks for meeting me." We sat down and I could feel the tension hanging in the air. "So, what did you want to talk about?" I prompted. "I've been doing a lot of soul searching," she began. "I know that what I did was unforgivable, but I've realized so much about myself and our relationship. I miss you, Jake, I miss us. And I'm committed to working on myself, to rebuilding what we had." I narrowed my eyes, unsure of how to react. "You say that, but you also chose to betray me. You don't just get to erase that with a few words." "I know," she exclaimed, her voice rising slightly in desperation. "I can't change the past, but I can change the future. I've started attending support groups and focusing on my emotional health. I want to become a better person, not just for you, but for myself." I listened intently, weighing her words. It was clear she was earnest, but could I really trust that she had changed? "And what makes you think I should believe you?" "Because I'm willing to do the work. I've cut ties with Mike. I know he was a distraction, but I realized he didn't fill the void in my heart. You did. I wasn't honest with myself, and I want to be honest with you." The sincerity in her voice was palpable, but the scars of betrayal ran deep. "Emily, I don't want to go back to a relationship built on uncertainty. It's going to take time to even consider what you're proposing." "Then let's take the time," she pleaded. "I'm not asking for everything right now. Just a chance to show you that I can be better, that I want to be better for you." I took a deep breath, contemplating the weight of her words. The idea of starting over filled me with both dread and hope. I had spent so long focusing on my healing that the thought of reopening that door felt risky. But what if there was a possibility for growth? What if I could learn to trust her again? "All right," I finally said, my voice steady but cautious. "We can take it slow. But understand this, I'm not going to let you back in easily. Trust has to be rebuilt, and that's going to take time." Emily nodded, a glimmer of hope lighting up her face. "Thank you, Jake. I'll do whatever it takes." After that meeting, I felt a strange mix of emotions. I had agreed to let her back into my life, albeit cautiously, and it left me feeling vulnerable. Would this truly be an opportunity for reconciliation, or would it lead to more heartache? Over the next few weeks, we cautiously navigated our new dynamic. We started having lunch together, sharing stories, and slowly rebuilding our friendship. I could see the effort she was putting into being honest and open about her feelings. She even started joining me on the yacht a little at a time, but I maintained boundaries. I wouldn't allow myself to forget the pain she had caused. I found solace in my sailing community and my friends, and in the time I spent out on the open water. The yacht was still my sanctuary, a place where I could escape and find clarity. As the summer rolled in, we had our first sailing trip together. It was a tentative step, and I felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. We set out at sunrise, the golden light reflecting off the water, and it felt like a new beginning. I had created new memories in this space, memories that we could share again. As we sailed away from the shore, I looked over at Emily, her eyes sparkling with joy. For a moment, I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. But I remained cautious, reminding myself that love often comes with risks. In the end, I knew that whatever happened, I was on the path to reclaiming my life, my happiness, and perhaps even my love. End of part 5. As the days turned into weeks, Emily and I began to carve out a new routine. Our evenings consisted of walks along the beach, talks about our dreams and plans, and even laughter, a sound I thought I had lost forever. I found myself slowly letting my guard down, the walls I had built around my heart starting to crack. But each time I felt a glimmer of hope, I was reminded of the betrayal that had brought us to this point. The sailing trips became more frequent, and I could see the joy on Emily's face each time we set out on the water. She had embraced the experience wholeheartedly, putting in the effort to learn the ropes and understand the mechanics of sailing. It was refreshing to see her passion, but I still felt a nagging doubt lingering in the back of my mind. One day, while we were anchored off a secluded cove, I shared a moment with her that felt almost perfect. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm glow around us, and as we sat side by side, I felt a pang of nostalgia. "Do you remember the first time we went sailing?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Emily smiled, her eyes bright. "Of course, I was so nervous and you kept teasing me about my lack of balance. It was a disaster, but it was also the most fun I'd had." I chuckled, remembering how her laughter had filled the air, how carefree we had been. "Yeah, you fell off the boat trying to grab the line, but you were so determined. I admired that about you." The atmosphere felt charged with emotion, and as I looked into her eyes, I saw the woman I had fallen in love with long ago, yet I couldn't shake the feeling that our past was still looming over us. "Emily, I want you to know that I'm still working through everything. I appreciate the effort you're putting in, but trust takes time to rebuild." "I understand," she replied, her voice steady. "I know it won't happen overnight, and I'm willing to be patient. I want to show you that I can be the partner you deserve, Jake. I've learned so much about myself, and I want to keep growing with you." Just then something flickered across the horizon, and I turned to see a storm brewing in the distance. The wind picked up and the sky darkened ominously. "We should head back," I said, my instincts kicking in. As I steered the yacht back toward the marina, the waves began to swell, the boat rocking more violently. Emily, sensing my tension, helped me with the sails, and for a moment we were a team again. I could feel her presence beside me, and it urged me to trust her just a little more. But as the rain began to pour, I couldn't shake the anxiety that gripped me. The storm had come out of nowhere, and navigating the choppy waters felt like a metaphor for our relationship. The waves crashed against the boat, and I fought to maintain control. It was chaotic, and I could feel the tension rising. "Hold on, Emily," I shouted over the howling wind. "I need you to focus." She nodded, her expression serious as she took her place at the front of the boat, helping to keep us steady. The adrenaline coursed through my veins as I navigated the storm, and for a moment, it felt like we were both fighting for something greater than ourselves. We worked in tandem, communicating with each other through gestures and shouts. It reminded me of the unity we once had in our relationship, and despite the chaos, I felt a flicker of hope igniting within me. If we could weather this storm together, perhaps we could face the storms in our lives together as well. As we finally approached the marina, the sun peeked out from behind the clouds, casting a rainbow across the sky. It felt like a sign, an affirmation that there was light after the darkness. I docked the boat, my heart racing. Not just from the thrill of the storm, but from the realization that we had made it through together. Once we secured the yacht, I turned to Emily, who looked relieved and exhilarated. "We did it," she exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. "Yeah, we did," I replied, feeling a rush of connection. It was in that moment, amidst the remnants of the storm and the beauty of the rainbow, that I felt the weight of my doubts begin to lift. She said softly, her voice laced with sincerity. "I know that it will take time, but I want you to know that I'm here for the long haul. I want to earn your trust back to build a life together again." I took a deep breath, feeling both apprehensive and hopeful. "I want that too, but we have to take it one day at a time. I won't forget what happened, and I can't promise it will be easy, but I'm willing to try." Emily smiled, a genuine warmth radiating from her. "That's all I'm asking for." As we walked away from the yacht, I felt a sense of renewal within me. The journey ahead wouldn't be without its challenges, but I was ready to navigate the waters, to explore the depths of our relationship with a cautious heart. The lessons I learned through this experience taught me the importance of self-worth and the power of boundaries. Relationships can be rebuilt, but only through honesty, accountability, and a willingness to grow together. As we stepped into the sunlight, I knew that whatever storms came our way, we would face them together, one sail at a time.